I decided to skip the countdown because I just went on a great spiel and realized that we weren't live at all. So we are doing Collin's Rise of the Skywalker panel now. That's Collin Farmer's panel, Rise of the Skywalker, presented to you by the Collin Farmer. So it's going to be Collin's panel tonight. Just a reminder, we're collecting money for the American Cancer Society. So if you can, please donate. We are about $130 away from hitting our goal of hitting 2,000 tonight. So if you can't donate, please share so that other people can donate. GiveButter.com/Utah RemoteCon 2020. We'll also put a ticker down so you can see the website all through the panel as well. So I'll turn the time over to these guys to talk about the Enterprise Galaxy Quest things that they're going to talk about. And before you tune out, everyone in this panel knows a whole lot more about Star Wars than I do and have probably even seen the movie. So without further ado.
Oh my God. Welcome. All the Star Wars fans have already logged off. Starship Enterprise.
Why was I
the right series?
Oh my God. First off, Steph, you're amazing. Second, no, just no. Well, welcome, guys. We're excited to be doing this panel today. We really wanted to just dive into everything that was the Rise of the Skywalker Saga and our likes and dislikes over the time, as well as those moments that we just really loved. So
I was waving to Jonathan.
Perfect. Without further ado, let's introduce some of our panelists. We have Val over there, the host of B98.7. Oh,
wow.
my God. I'm just
Thanks for tuning in, Collin.
Feel free to log on whenever you need, Val. Totally understand.
Podcast, seemingly appropriate podcast, and probably 20 other podcasts because Val's just that awesome.
Hey, everybody.
We have Jake Skywalker over here. Jake is the lovely COO of Stolen Droids Media, also a co-host on Movies That Make Us and the Stolen Droids podcast. And then over down yonder, over here, we have Darth Lindsey from Cutscenes and Cupcake. She's amazing.
Thank you.
Apparently, we have Darth Zohner.
That happened after I changed my name, so.
Zohner copied you.
It took me a minute.
I was really hoping you'd go with like Zonzon Binks or something like that.
Oh, perfect.
That would have been amazing.
Change it now.
That works on so many levels. I've seen Zohner run. It's the exact same thing.
Right?
You're not wrong.
It's just fantastic. Zohner is one of the co-hosts on the Stolen Droids podcast and also our fearless leader of Stolen Droids Media.
This is a strong word.
Fearless is like, you're putting me like way up there, dude.
I know.
I kind of thought leader was a strong word.
Well, I wasn't even going to go there, but.
Oh my God. Next, we have Marlee Reylo, if you will. Marlee is another co-host of the Fabulous Three of the Cutscenes and Cupcakes podcast, as well as the Stolen Droids podcast. So, welcome, Marlee. And you changed your name. That just ruined my
so that I could do this. So introduce me. Introduce me.
We have Zach Kenobi, guys.
Introduce me, quick! Do it! Introduce me.
Here is the wonderful, the almighty Zach Kenobi.
Hello there.
Oh my god! I knew that's what was coming.
Oh my god.
Okay, but look, you've already disappointed your number one fan, Zach.
Yeah, I'm going back for you, Erica. Anything for you.
That's a good name. I was going to talk about our favorite droid, but nope. Now you're our probably 5th favorite droid. So
I was never anyone's favorite anything. Ask my parents.
Oh,
let's go into that. Let's talk about that.
it.
Okay.
It's a lion. You know it.
Boy, this panel took a dark turn
It's
fast.
not a lie. You've met my parents. You know.
I feel like it's fitting to the Skywalker family.
Right.
Always disappointing.
bad.
They're progenitors.
But yeah, anyways, Zach is co-host on Soul and Droids podcast. He's also producer over at Provost Park Pass.
And
What?
Soulmate.
I'm your soulmate.
I knew
The
it.
rest of us know that's what it was. And
I
Collin,
already said you were my soulmate.
Calm down, Kylo. Come back.
Oh my
Come on,
God.
Kylo.
listen,
Not problem. Oh, he's gonna go cry in the recording booth. All right, whatever.
Can you change his name to Kylo?
Reylo.
Reylo.
Oh, Reylo. That's so funny. Anyway, what are we
Hey.
talking about today, gang?
Well, you're gonna be shocked. We're talking about Rise of the Skywalker.
Hey,
So let's just go around first and just say what we love about the Star Wars franchise. Maybe not specifically this trilogy, but what has brought us into Star Wars. And let's go ahead and have Val start us off.
I mean, I like that there are so many different stories that really there's one for at least everyone to love. However, Star Wars fans are also jerks, and there's a lot of Star Wars fans that hate most of them, which is kind of weird. I think it's funny. I like all the movies, including Jar Jar Binks. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that there are a lot of stories out there, whether you read the books, whether you watch the movies, whether you watch the animated shows, that there is enough for everyone to catch on and latch on to something. And I just love it.
Perfect. All right, and Darth Lindsey.
For me, it's something similar. I really like the community, which, yeah, there's a lot of toxic people in it, but they can go be in their own community, and I'm talking about the community that's cool. I'm talking about how you can wear any shirt that's Star Wars, and someone will come up to you in the grocery store and say, like, oh, yeah, Baby Yoda. And I'm like, that's not his name. And they're like, you're one of those. And I'm like, yeah, well, like, I just love that it creates that, ability that we can talk about it, that we can connect to just random humans across the globe. So that's what I like.
Perfect. Zon Binks.
As a kid, I loved Darth Vader. As an adult, I still love Darth Vader, even though George Lucas nearly ruined him with the prequels. But I absolutely love the villains in the Star Wars universe. Moff Tarkin, the dude's just a complete a-hole. He doesn't care. He just wants power and everything. I love the villains in Star Wars. And I'll keep coming back for the villains in Star Wars.
Perfect. Marlee.
For me, I grew up loving action adventure / sci-fi movies, and watching these, like, it was always a really great adventure, and there were so many great characters. I mean, it's just been a part of, like, my whole entire life. Watching the older trilogy to the ones that people don't like to talk about, and then, which I was fine with. I liked those. And even the newer ones, it's Star Wars has always been around for me, and I just love all of it. I'm not really one of those crazy Star Wars fans who criticizes every little thing, which if you are, that's fine. You be you. But I'm just in it for the fun of it. And of course, lightsabers are awesome.
Zach, the radar technician.
Yeah.
It's going to change every single time we get to you.
Yeah, you never know. You never know what I'm going to be.
You know what? I don't want to hear from him anymore. Let's talk to Jake.
I'll mute myself.
Good. The first step is recognizing you have a problem. I just grew up with Star Wars. It was one of the first shows that I remember really getting into, one of the first stories that I really kind of gravitated toward. Obviously, I grew up with the original trilogy, but even when the prequels came out, I stood in line for hours to get a ticket. I saw episode 1 multiple times in the theater. Like, there's just something magical about, sitting in a movie theater. It's dark. Lucasfilm logo comes up, and then the blue words on there, in a galaxy far, far, long ago in a galaxy far, far away, and you're just like, that's it. I'm ready. Like, I'm all in, and it doesn't really matter. And it's just great storytelling most of the time, and intriguing characters. And I love that this was an idea that George Lucas had that has just grown so much, and so many people have had an opportunity to play in that sandbox and contribute. And it's just awesome.
Perfect. All right, Zach.
The very first thing that I loved about Star Wars was lightsabers.
Yes.
Before I knew what Star Wars really was, I knew that there were lightsaber fights. And then growing up and getting more into film, the original trilogy is a technological wonder. It's really cool, the stuff that they did, the sets they built. And that, I think, for me, is something that I loved about Star Wars, is it never felt like a galaxy far, far away. It felt like I could walk onto that planet at any time and be somewhere. So that's what it was for me.
Yeah, and then for me, Star Wars has always been kind of a coping mechanism for me, something that I've always just grown and attached with. Going from being in my parents' office as a little kid, they had their VHS player that just sat there and had a couple of old films, and Return of the Jedi was one of them, and I would just watch that movie on repeat all the time. And so it's always been kind of a staple in my life, to the point where I wore Jedi robes to high school because I was just a weird kid. But that's okay.
But did you feel cool when you did it?
No, I felt amazing.
Yeah, so then it was worth it. Who cares what anybody else thought? You felt amazing. It was worth it.
My $200 lightsaber and my Jedi robes. They did get banned from the school, so that was sad.
The lightsaber or the robes?
They weren't ready.
Both. They weren't ready. They couldn't handle it.
They're like, I don't know if he's a Force user, but we're just not gonna risk it.
Yeah. We don't know what's gonna happen.
Guy goes to the dark side.
It could be bad. So what you're saying is, not only did you feel amazing for a day dressed as a Jedi at school, but they also made a rule based on your actions. Like, that's your legend. You're a legend, right? Man.
Pretty great.
Welcome to the annals of history, buddy.
Thank you very much. So yeah, with the latest,
I feel so far away from you. I'm all the way down here. You're all the way up there. Zohner, help me hold his hand. I'm bringing that up. There we go.
Oh, sorry.
You got it. There we go.
Okay.
Oh, I feel it. I feel connected now, baby, with you.
Oh my gosh.
I've watched most of the panels or participated by far, that was the weirdest moment of the con so far. Just want to throw it out there.
Not even surprised by that. Thank you, Erica, for saying I was a cool kid. I appreciate that. So unlike Zohner, who's a cool supporter and a villain supporter, and she can't handle it. So sorry, Zon.
Shame.
Just not working for you.
I'm just too much for some people.
But yeah, so with the latest trilogy, there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of people love it, people hate it. A lot of fans feel that there was a disservice to them. Where do you guys kind of rank in all that? Do you guys feel that that this trilogy can stand on its own? Do you think that that has to rely on the previous films, or do you think that the films maybe are just one of them is great and then the others just kind of fall apart?
So, if I may, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, Daisy Ridley said in an interview that there was a lot of back and forth on who Rey's parentage was, and at one point she was a Kenobi. So it was this close to being canon. Spoiler alert, everybody watching, spoiler alert for all the Star Warses. Thank you. Turns out that Rey is a Palpatine.
What?
Mm-hmm. So,
oh my gosh.
Exciting times. But the thing, I think the MCU kind of ruined movies for me, because that series of movies is so well planned and thought out, and like they're putting this here so that this could happen here. And we can say swear words?
We didn't say it.
We didn't say it.
The thing that's most upsetting about that is she's only kidding. She's kidding, but she hasn't seen the movie. So,
well, there will be spoilers. So that's what it was for me. That's what it was for me. Is the new trilogy I enjoyed enough watching in theaters, but I just felt like they didn't have all their ducks in a row. I didn't feel like they had a consistent plan. It felt like JJ's plan, Brian's plan, kind of back to JJ's plan, where it should have just been. They should have just got a Kevin Feige to streamline something for him. So that's where I'm at. I enjoyed them well enough. I don't hate them. I don't think they ruined Star Wars for me. I'm even okay that women were in the movies.
Well, let's not go too far.
I mean, you guys know there's some ridiculous toxic fans out there that anyway. But I wish there would have been more of a plan.
For me, I like the idea that like all the Star Wars movies, like it's been a tradition to have different directors for each of the movies. But like Zach said, when you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they did have different directors and writers, but yet it all seemed to kind of come together better. Whereas these three movies seem to be, to people, especially to people that are in love with canon and can't step away from canon, these are just like out of their mind. They can't stand it. For me, yes, they're a little messy, but I feel like all the Star Wars movies are a little cheesy, a little messy, and not all of the writing is great, but yet we still love them. We still love them. But with these three movies, there was something very visually pleasing about all three of them that you don't get in any of the other movies. The other movies are great to look at too, but there's something about these three movies, the color, the cinematography, the different special effects that they use, the fighting scene, the camera angles are all very much these three movies. And I love that, that you get to see that in all three. I do think that they did kind of throw away some characters that I wanted to see more. They projected that Poe was going to be a bigger character. They projected that several characters were going to be bigger, and then they kind of just threw them away. And I'm like, okay, well, why did you spend so much marketing money on these characters? And you have costumes for characters that are in the movie 3 to 10 minutes. So I didn't quite get what they were doing there. We got all excited about certain things, and then you don't get that. But I do think like visually, cinematically, there is something just outstanding about all three of the movies visually.
Yeah. I think Finn, I mean, nobody's really talking about it, but I really feel like there wasn't a lot of character development with Finn. I'm just kidding. Everybody's talking about it.
I know. When he's like, "Hey, I thought I was going to be a bigger deal."
He's a little vocal about it.
Even Captain Phasma, Jake. Even Captain Phasma.
Oh, Captain Phasma was going to be awesome.
They pushed Captain Phasma to be like the best Halloween costume of the year, and I just thought her character was going to be like half of the movie, and then she's I didn't understand it.
So
They Boba Fetted her hard.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
did get more than Boba Fett though.
Funny
More
story
Darth
about Captain
Maul.
Phasma. Funny story about Captain Phasma. I took my son to go see the Star Wars movies, and he's deaf. So wait,
we're not
I'm getting
to the
there.
funny
And,
part
and
yet.
so he only
Sorry.
experiences it through the captioning. And when I told him after The Force Awakens that Captain Phasma was a woman, he's like, "Wait, what?" Because he had no idea. He didn't hear her voice, so he didn't know.
Well,
But she kind of got thrown away. I think. Sorry, Marlee, you were saying something. I don't want to.
no, I was going to piggyback off you, so finish.
Okay. Well, I enjoyed the trilogy. I enjoyed The Force Awakens. I really, really enjoyed The Last Jedi. I think it's one of the best Star Wars movies out there, and one of the best movies out there. I just really enjoy it. And I felt like with Rise of Skywalker, and that's where it really felt like they didn't have a plan, because it was such a swerve and such a U-turn almost from what they established and did in The Last Jedi. And I thought that was a little bit weird. But overall, the movies were still fun and they were still enjoyable. And there were still moments where I was like, this is a Star Wars movie, and I enjoyed them a lot.
I really like to, kind of going a little bit back to what Val said too before about the movies being visually stunning. One thing I really do like about The Last Jedi is the visual effects. I mean, they're in this like really, really white world. Like there's a lot of like white sand or whatever that is. And then all of a sudden, like there's like red bits to it. And it's just so like the contrast and everything is so stunning. And then also the part when at the end, when Rey helps them break out of the tunnel in the back, and she just like moves all the rocks up and they all just like scatter, and she's just like holding them up with the Force. Like even just like that scene, like it is incredible. Kind of about characters and villains being wasted. I am disappointed with the Knights of Ren in Rise of Skywalker.
Me too.
Right?
Preach.
They, especially like in the beginning when you first see them in the movie, they look so scary. Oh, they're so bad. Oh, they're supposed to be the best besides Kylo Ren, because I mean he's a really good fighter. But like they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything the whole rest of the movie except stand there and look scary.
And
even honestly, I think we could get a Knights of Ren show just like we have The Mandalorian, and there would be so much content and people would love it. And I think in the movie they did a disjustice to what future content they could pull out of that. Like if people say that Disney and Star Wars is such a money grab, they sure did waste a ton of money grab moments for all three of these movies, because I agree with Marlee. Like the Knights of Ren, I was so excited when I saw them. Like I get goosebumps now, and then they were gone. Like they were in, and then they were gone. And I
even
just didn't understand
even
it.
before The Force Awakens came out, J.J. Abrams teased the Knights of Ren, talking about how no, he's not a Sith. Kylo Ren isn't a Sith. He's a Knight of Ren. Well, what is that? Well, you're gonna have to wait and find out. And then we waited for 2 more movies and found out that they were lame. And he should have just been a Sith. He would have been cool.
I
mean, their costumes were sure neat.
Multiple
It's so scary.
would be like this too, right? Because you've got what Rian Johnson wants to put in there, and and it's not completely matching up with the other directors. So why? I don't know. I feel like sometimes it is a disservice to have multiple directors that refuse to stick up and be
wherever that came from.
But yeah,
Well, if they had a story runner
final battle,
yeah,
even on the final battle with between Ben and the Knights of Ren, we don't get much. Like he just tears through them. You expect that since they've trained with him that they could at least put up a decent fight.
Yeah,
but
he worked them hard.
Yeah, they're just flipped to shreds by him just flipping over their backs.
But Collin, with passion and love, you can kill anything.
Oh my god!
Was that the lesson? Was that what we were supposed to learn?
I guess
that was,
so.
That was the point of it all.
Yeah.
The power of love.
I will say, what are we calling it? The Disney trilogy, the last 3.
I think
the original.
Normally it's just the sequel trilogy.
Okay, the sequel trilogy. definitely had the best fight scenes.
Oh yeah, by far.
And I think that comes
Those were great
from.
fight
Yeah,
scenes.
these were incredible.
What do you guys think was the best fight scene in the new trilogy?
Oh,
I loved the one in
I
the
didn't-
forest because, like, Rey doesn't know how to use a lightsaber. She's not, Darth Maul or Obi-Wan Kenobi where she can, like, flip it around and do cool stuff. Like, Rey and Finn are just hacking and slashing, just desperately trying to stop Kylo Ren. And I loved that, like, choreography for it.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I loved Snoke's throne room.
Snow.
that was so good.
I was gonna say that
Throne
one.
room.
Like, people had talked about Reylo, and this whole shipping thing was happening already. That's when I got on board with it. Watching them fight together and take down his guards, like, it was awesome. That scene was great.
I liked the
Reylo,
Death Star in the water. Like, for me, the camera angles on the Death
Yes.
Star in the water and trying to get up each level, and then it turns, and then you've got, I mean, there were just so much, like, the choreography with not only the camera and the actors there and the fighting choreography. I was blown away by it.
Yeah, it's the amount of time that they put into these fight scenes were just phenomenal, and I feel like that was definitely some of the more shining moments in this trilogy. So Jason Black said they teased that Finn was force sensitive, even had him fight with a lightsaber. I wish they had done more with that, but Finn was still one of the best character developments. Completely agree with that. And they've JJ even came out and said, after what he was trying to tell Rey was that he's force sensitive.
Yeah.
Which in some of the shots when he's about to tell her, it doesn't feel that way. That he's going to be like, "Oh, hey, I'm force sensitive."
Right.
Like when Finn and Rey are falling down through that pit, and he's just like, "Rey, I have something to tell you." Are you really just going to tell someone that they're force sensitive in that moment?
This is the last thing you're going to say before you die?
Yeah, like, no. In that moment, you're going to be like, "I love you," not, "Hey, I'm force sensitive."
Maybe that's his way of saying that he loves you. You don't know that.
Maybe, "Hey, baby, I'm force sensitive."
We're
His
exactly
love
like
language
I
of making
know.
up lies about force sensitivity. It's fine. I wish that they would have not waited until the last movie to even hint at it. I mean, I would have loved to have seen him be force sensitive from the beginning. Why do we have to limit it to just one person discovering their force powers and developing their force powers? And why couldn't we have Rey and Finn together learning how to become Jedi? And I mean, it still works, I think. And it was just too bad.
They didn't know what they were doing. They had no idea what their story was going to be.
Exactly. And I think that he was completely wasted in The Last Jedi. That storyline with him and Rose was just completely unnecessary, I felt. And I would have liked, like you're saying, Val, I would have liked to see him train with Rey. I would have liked to see more of that than him going to Las Vegas in space.
Oh, stop. We are not going to talk about The Last Jedi. Let's just move on. I don't even want to respond to Zohner.
Well,
Let's
I
just
want to
move
talk
on.
a little bit about it because Rose, let's talk about Rose. Like,
Rose,
Yeah.
so in The
Rose
Last
was
Jedi, everybody made such a big deal that she was a throwaway character. And then Disney stood up and said, look, we're standing up for her, both her character and her as an actress, and just wait until the next movie. And then they bookended her again. They put Rose from Last Jedi and Rose over here, and they just bookended. Like, they did. I was just so disappointed with that. That was probably my biggest disappointment with the last movie, is that they just threw her right in the trash again.
Yeah,
Well,
she got like 57 seconds on screen, if that.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. What I loved,
Matter if you get 57 seconds, like, give her a good story, give her a reason to be.
Yeah.
She has no reason to be.
well, and what I really loved about her in The Last Jedi, in The Force Awakens, you have Finn chasing after Rey. Like, he's like a little puppy dog. Now you bring in Rose, and this is a new character that can put him in a different direction and find his own path so that he can become his own character. And then you, in The Last Jedi, you just throw it away. And I feel like it was one of the ways that Disney and Lucasfilm really buckled under the pressure to the fans and kind of said, okay, they didn't like Rose, so let's just not have her a whole lot in the film. And there were a lot of other things that they did in that movie that felt like that, but that was one of the biggest ones for me because I really liked Rose. I liked her line at the end about fighting for hope, and like that's what made them different, and it was just awesome. And Finn came along so much further in The Last Jedi, and I think a big part of that was Rose.
Well, Rose showed him the reason to be. She showed him in The Last Jedi that you don't have to be like this foreseen superhero to be somebody important. Like it's some kid that's just sweeping up after, you know, everyone, and he might have the Force. You could have the Force. It's what I love about Spider-Man. Like anybody can wear the mask. Anybody can have these powers. It doesn't matter. You know, it could be anyone in the universe. And then to totally just disregard that whole storyline in the last movie. Yes, Stephanie, you could have the Force, Stephanie. We don't know.
We don't know.
We never will now.
You know, I was thinking this morning about, and sorry, Jake, I'm going to reference.
You're fine.
I'm doing it again, but I was thinking this morning.
My triggered GIF
about about Rose, and I've never been a big fan of the character, but I was thinking she really could have. I mean, they set her up. Rian Johnson and what he did with her really set her up to be a very cool and influential character. Like you're saying, Jake, she helped forge Finn's path or point him on this new path separate from Rey. And they really could have done so much with her. I mean, with her tragic backstory of her sister dying, and again, spoilers, but I was thinking about that, and I thought they really blew what could have been a great character story arc by sending them to Vegas in space. But
Viva Space Vegas!
It really bugged me that they never even talked about the awkward kiss scene between them, which to me it felt awkward. I don't know if anyone else felt that way. It just seemed unnecessary at the time. And then in Rise of the Skywalker,
kissing is never unnecessary. All right.
Yeah.
It's fine.
When's the last time you kissed, Collin?
It's not necessary, Zach. He doesn't need to.
Right.
Gotta try it, man.
But in Rise of the Skywalker, they bring in the what was her name? Jannah, who's one of the other stormtroopers that just laid down their weapons, and they start developing kind of an interest between her. And so why not just spend that more time with Rose than with this new character and developing this new character that's, you know, in the film even more than Rose?
I think they're trying to establish the fact that Finn can get the ladies.
Dude, John Boyega can get it. John Boyega pulls.
He doesn't.
He can get the ladies and the men's. We know this.
Oh yeah.
Whatever he wants, go get it, John. You deserve it. I really like John Boyega. I like just about everything about that guy, and I think it's cool that he is using the platform that he built with Star Wars to do good. He's like a real Jedi.
Well, and I think the whole cast, I mean, when you look at the whole cast, the big four especially, you've got Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaacson, and Adam Driver.
Is it in?
Isaac, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Sorry. And then Adam Driver. And like all four of them are incredible actors and just did amazing in this and have done so much even after that. And I think that's incredible that they find these names that most people didn't know who they were, but they were still so talented and so amazing. And it's just awesome. I think that really lent to the strength of the storytelling in the sequel trilogy.
Oscar Isaac is another character, Poe. I love Poe so much, and he's one that I actually have read the comics of Poe's story that I wish they would have done more with him. I think they built it up to do more, and I feel like his character was just kind of a rock across the water. You didn't really get in any deeper. And I feel like after watching the Dune trailer I'm going to get everything in Dune from Oscar Isaac that I wanted from Star Wars and didn't get.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was one of the not great things about the sequel trilogy. The big three, the trio that was supposed to be like the new Luke, Leia, and Han, I didn't feel like they had the same bond that Luke, Leia, and Han had at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
At the end of Rise of Skywalker, it's like they're all going to kind of go their separate ways now, and like that's fine. But like you could picture Han, Leia, and Luke continuing to have adventures together and being together for the long haul. I don't know that I feel the same way about the other three.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but you make a really, really good point. I think if we're talking about relationships in the new trilogy, the biggest relationship development we saw was between Kylo Ren and Rey.
Yeah,
Reylo.
And I actually really liked. I really liked where they went. I mean, I didn't care if it turned into something romantic or not, but I liked that they leaned on each other and that it as Force users, and then the whole. Love that. That was cool. I didn't know the Force could do that. Apparently, there's a lot of things I don't know about the Force.
I mean, you can fly through space too with the Force, so it's okay.
Yeah,
that was new too.
No,
it wasn't. It was in one of the animated series.
It was
in Rebels.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Right, well, let me just leave this. Goodbye, everybody.
As much as I make fun of Kylo all the time for being a whiny little brat, and I don't usually use brat as my word, he's my favorite Skywalker. Like, I know he's not all the way a Skywalker. He's, a solo, but in my mind, he is part of that Skywalker family, Kylo Ren.
Their lineage, for sure.
Yeah, and so for me, I think his arc is the best arc of all of theirs, and I really do like what they did to him. They gave to us everything. We felt all of the emotions with his characters from the first movie all the way to the end movie. And at first, spoiler alert, when he died, for like a second, I was a little upset. And then I was like, no, this is what I like what they did. This is what should have happened, because then I thought if he wouldn't have died, like what would have happened after that? And I really liked what they did. He redeemed himself in his eyes. He redeemed himself enough for the person that he loved, and that's all that needed to be done at that point. And I really liked it.
And I think with Kylo Ren, like, without the support of the people around him, I don't think he would have been able to redeem himself as easily. I think it would have taken a lot more time. But you could see that Rey saw good in him and just wanted him to change. And of course, like we see in like even in that scene when he's having a vision of his dad, Han Solo, who's dead, talking with him like after a really big fight, and he's just so like supportive of him, and he's like, look, like, you're my son, and blah blah blah. He says all like these awesome things that I'm all of a sudden forgetting, but but you just like, for me, my first thought was like, wow, like he has so many great people in his corner that are rooting for him to turn his life around and be a good guy, and he gets to be that. Yeah, not for very long, but especially because he dies, but it was great to see him in those last few scenes in the movie.
For me, like, the biggest moment of liking Kylo Ren, like, I was kind of with the crowd. I was just like, oh, he's such a whiny, angst is not a villain, things like that.
I'll stitch that on a pillow.
Angst is a villain, though, let's be honest. Just not a great one. But no, like, I had issues with him, but I really started to like him the second he turned his life around and he makes that epic Force jump and then doesn't quite stick the landing, goes, ow. Like, I loved that. I was just like, oh, he's funny now. I get it. For some reason, that tiny moment, I was just like, oh, Kylo's actually pretty cool.
Nice.
Yes, Kylo is cool. I like Kylo
Thank
Ren,
you.
and he's got a good helmet.
I don't know why he
I
felt
like
like he
Matt,
needed
the
to break
radar
it.
technician, better, but
Yeah.
Adam Driver is a stud in real life.
Yes, absolutely, he is.
And it's such a force to be reckoned with on screen. I loved what he brought to Kylo Ren, and I think about this about casting. I think that I can't think of. Sure, there were characters that weren't used to their fullest potential, but as far as casting goes, I think everyone was cast really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Really, really, really well.
Especially that whiny Hux guy.
Oh my gosh, he's so good.
He just plays that. Oh my gosh, that moment when Poe's trying to delay that attack and is just sitting up there and just like, oh hey, yeah, just calling your mom.
Is this General Hugs?
General Hugs. That's right.
And I wasn't surprised when he turned out to be the traitor because I thought no Weasley could ever really be on the dark side.
So you and Poe both knew it.
Oh my God.
You know what? This is another thing that I love. I mean, I will always have a special place in my heart for the Millennium Falcon. But I think my favorite ship of the Star Wars saga might be Poe's X-Wing.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Is
That
so
black
cool.
X-Wing is sleek.
I'm trying to find that Lego set.
I know!
And I can't find it anywhere.
Nowhere, man.
No, I've got the new
Nowhere.
one, but it's orange and white instead of orange and black, and it's not as cool.
That orange and black looks so good. You know what? I'm gonna just look for this. I'm gonna look for that. You guys do what you got.
Yeah, that's good. We're not doing anything else. You go ahead and look for your Lego online. We got nothing going on. It's not like we've got people watching.
It's not like I'm sharing my screen.
Can we talk
Jeez.
about like the evolution of C-3PO in this final movie?
Well, at one
Yeah.
point he has a different colored arm, and then he doesn't. That was pretty exciting.
Just there and whoops.
I don't know. I really just like how they gave him. I like how they gave him human moments.
Yeah.
You know, and because out of every single movie, the droids play super important parts in getting all of our heroes where they need to be and getting them out of where they shouldn't be. And the fact that they brought R2-D2 and C-3PO into the full circle, into the ending of this movie, I think was like one of the most understated turn of events and relationships that like nobody talks about is these two droids and how like we're crying about droids. They have us crying about metal, you know, like that's great workmanship in any film. And I think I loved that. So
Yeah, when they're doing the mind wipe and he's looking at them and he's like, I'm just looking at my friends one last time. Like,
yeah,
it was hard.
Well, I think that's a tremendous compliment to Anthony Daniels as well. That even though you can't see his face, he's able to convey that emotion and give you all the feels that he does.
Yeah, well, even with Do, same thing. You know that moment where BB-8 finds that other little droid and gets
I
him
love
going.
him so much.
And you know, Rey reaches back and he's what did he say?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
I felt that so much.
Just know that little droid was, you know, potentially abused, and it gave that depth without even having to say anything. You know?
Yeah, in every Star Wars movie, they give us these droids that surpass the human element, and I just think it's incredible. And yeah, I mean, Dio is one of my favorite droids. I mean, when he says no thank you, I just like that was it for me.
I agree with you, Erica. You know what? Here's something I hate. Period. I hate it when people are mean to any of these characters, or especially when they're mean to any of the actors who play the characters. The worst part about Star Wars is the toxic fandom. So if you're part of that, stop it.
Yeah. And I think fandoms in general, but it seems to be especially pronounced in Star Wars right now.
Don't you dare, Steph.
Really sucks.
Keep going.
You cannot turn us off. This is my panel. I decide when we're done. We don't have to leave. You can come back. You can stay with us.
I thought you.
Sorry, Steph. I had to do it. It was just.
Jake did it.
Oh.
You know, I think we'd be remiss as well if we don't mention Carrie Fisher. And the fact that they were able to take extra footage and utilize that and make her a part of this movie was awesome.
I agree.
As far as celebrity deaths go, when one happens, I usually couldn't care less. Carrie Fisher, though, rocked me. It really, I mean, even now, it still makes me sad. And watching the movie today, I, had all those feelings all over again, seeing her there on the screen. And I'm really glad that they were able to utilize her in this role and in this particular film, because without her, it would have definitely been lacking.
For sure, and every single moment that she was on that screen was just such a tearjerker, and like you know that at some point, she's gonna pass in this film, and when it happens, after she's projecting that image of Han Solo to Ben, you just know that it was her, final wish that hopefully this can be the one thing that helps Ben become Ben again.
Yes. Wow, that's a downer note right there.
I know,
it's
right?
a great, it's a positive note,
roll.
because yes, we definitely lost our princess, but look at the legacy she left behind. And if we look at it, if we put ourselves in Ben's shoes, that like Carrie Fisher performed and acted and wrote and did these things to inspire people to be better. And if that's the last thing that she gave us, then that's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
And Billy Lord being in the movies was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she got more of a role in this one as well. Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming with us on this journey in a galaxy far, far away. And thank you, panelists, for all your thoughts and opinions. We appreciate it greatly. Steph, will you take us through the prize?
So this is the prize today. A couple of prints by
Oh, I want to win that.
Yeah, my husband pointed out that the one with the stormtroopers.
Well done.
It's
with the rating.
Cringing just using the right terminology.
Rangers, look at how cool that is.
That is cool.
And then Kermit as Mando, which is pretty awesome.
I love
So the winner of that is going to be, drum roll,
Sorry.
That's my
Carly
drum roll.
Webster.
Woo!
Yay! Way to go, Webster.
Is our winner. And I think she just donated like last panel.
Oh, hi, Val.
Which is awesome. Which means if you want to just donate like whenever you can now, you have definitely a chance at winning. So we are like $100 away from 2K. So keep it up. Everyone's amazing. Thank you all so much. Next is Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Thanks, Collin, for letting us be a part of your panel.
Oh, thank you. The Collin Farmer appreciates you.
Thanks,
Colin.
Colin.
I really wanted your name to be Collin Moisture Farmer, by the way. Oyster farmer, like what Luke is.
Oh no, I get it, but it's still gross to hear.
Oh,
It is.
sorry.
All right, you guys, I need to change my shirt for the next panel. You guys